In today's throwback episode of the HumanAF Podcast, we revisit a candid conversation recorded a few years back that dives into the rarely explored experience of loneliness, to explore it a bit deeper and uncover its unexpected role in our lives. This conversation gives tangible and pragmatic proof that even in the shit, apparently nothing is out of place. So join us as we challenge conventional thinking and invite one another to see loneliness in a new light, embracing it as a full spectrum opportunity for self-discovery and growth. Enjoy.
This idea around loneliness came up this week and had me essentially on the floor on Monday, and it wants to be talked about. So here we all are on our own individual journeys, and the joke's on us, right? We all feel like we're very individual, and yet a lot of us know that we are also all very much interconnected and connected. Whatever I have to say, I want you to hold space for what you feel and see and believe around it, because that is your curriculum to move through. That is yours to pay attention to, because I'm not here to put my stuff on your lap. I'm not here to I'm not here to put my hand on your process. I'm here to help open things up for you to be aware of what you're walking around with, to be aware of what's next for you to step into, move through, evolve or transmute from, and grow from, essentially, to become more whole as a result of the exploration. So when I talk about loneliness, when I was confronted with this element of loneliness, which I'll get into in a minute, the invitation always is, what is your relationship with loneliness? And that can be, there's so many facets that we all hold around it in every vantage point that we're walking. Yeah. So right now, here's what it is for me. A week ago, I would have said something different. And there's something here that wants to welcome in that, like to be humbled by that and to allow it to evolve and be different as you grow and change or as you move forward. And so where do I start with this big conversation? First of all, the invitation is for you to reflect on your relationship with loneliness and how, on some crazy ass level that we are all completely and we walk side by side with this, is to be alone. I'm all alone. I'm all by myself. I feel left behind. I feel abandoned. Any phrase around that, or even misunderstood, that takes us into what we call loneliness. I feel so incredibly alone. And it is like the last place we want to be, right? Because we are hardwired for connection. We are hardwired for, I can't say it enough, connection. And without it, loneliness equals death to a lot of us. And if you can relate to that, please say, yeah, I get it. Because the truth is, here it comes. The truth is that loneliness is a part of this package, is a part of the model. And meaning if you've been handed a body, if you've been handed this life as an experience to go have, if you've said yes to being human and being on the planet right now, well, loneliness, being alone, is something we don't talk about, but it's here all the time. So I think there's going to be a lot of deep breath moments here of just like, I want you to tune into what that is for you when I say it. Because, and this came through one of my writings, and I talked to a friend about it, and I just talked to my friend Taryn about it too. About, man, sometimes if I'm here to pay attention to my life, if I'm here to be here and pay attention, and the world is freaking burning, the world feels like sometimes it's burning down. And sometimes my life literally feels like it's burning down. The structure that I'm saying, like, I think I'm done with that. And I don't know why I'm kind of tearing down these structures and bursting forth to say, I don't even know what we're doing, but I know that this is the right thing for us. I don't want to be too ambiguous, but like, each one of us is in our own place with that. Like, where do I fit? What do I want? What do I want to create? What do I want to say? What feels important to me? There's kind of this like stepping out energy of like, I'm fucking by myself here. Like, I really am. Because there is no other Carrie Ann right now that I know of. I mean, let's not get into parallel universe shit or other dimensions. I can't do that right now because I don't even understand it myself. So I got to deal with what I got here, which is I'm a pinhole, and I feel like, sounded like an insult. what I said was, it feels like the universe trying to squeeze its way through a pinhole of expression. And that pinhole is me. And I got all I got. The only stuff I got is what I got. I got some experience, up until now. I got a voice, I got choice. I have, in this body, I have arms and legs. I have abilities things I can do, and there's things that I can't do. So I have this real mixed bag. I've got a real mixed bag of resources and tools available to me, almost like a marionette. Like, here I am. And I do feel compelled to talk about things. I do feel interested in very specific things. My interest, my desire, my intuition, it pulls me into specific things that I know it doesn't pull other people into. So in that way, I'm fucking unique. Like, and as are you, is what I'm trying to offer you here. So tune in and take a hoot off my crack pipe. So whatever, take a hit and see what this is for you, because I can only speak from this place that I'm aware of. But I also know that you have your own version of it. So I'm a pinhole that the universe wants to move through. And in that, on its own, me saying that, there's inherent loneliness there, aloneness, individuality, this element of being an individual here. And the challenges that comes with individual and unique experiences, individual and unique awareness, perspectives, parents, siblings, location, where I'm from, like everything, my DNA, my ancestry, like the people I come from. And it's all led up to this pinhole that I am. I'm walking alongside other pinholes. Word pinholes. What the? So I'm aware of that, but it doesn't negate, doesn't take away from my opening, my space at the table. It's a yes, I am here, and there are others that have this exact experience from their own vantage point. So that in itself is humbling. And loneliness, being alone in that, I feel like loneliness wants to have a new conversation and a new relationship with me, with you, with the planet. Because it's gotten such a bad rap. It's like, man, y'all try to outrun that. You try to keep yourself busy. You try to keep yourself distracted on some level, because if you were really with the fact that, yeah, in some ways, there's such irony, or like, they're showing me like equal and opposites living in the same place. Because the irony, call it whatever, the hypocrisy in all of it is that in that unique, lonely experience of like, I am Carrie Ann, or you are you, and I've got this thing I want to talk about, or this thing I want to do, or this thing I feel compelled to say, and God damn it, I'm by myself in this. There's no other me doing this. And so I'm confronted with, I don't know what to do. I don't have a mentor. I don't have anyone that is going to show me how to do this. And I'm still being asked to do it. So I feel alone. And that can feel so, God, I mean, think about that. It can feel just so overpowering and almost like a deterrent. Like I'm not supposed to do it. Like it could really get in the way. And loneliness doesn't want to get in the way. That feeling of just you, just all by yourself, does not want to shut down the process of you expressing the thing that you're here to express. I want you to know, I come with the package. You can't avoid this layer. So it's not totally saying, hey, make friends with me. It's saying, what if you knew that if you could allow space and time for that tidal wave that we get hit with at every new vantage point, feeling maybe misunderstood, feeling maybe the only one in the room talking about the thing you want to talk about. Everything from subtle to absolutely, someone is literally saying, I don't get you, I hate you, I don't like you, you don't belong, you're a fucking idiot, or whatever it is, like it can show up in every form, from the subtle and assumptive, where we're just really like, oh, I kind of get the vibe that no one gets it, to literal, someone literally saying, you suck, I don't get you, get out of here. that we're all being asked to be aware that this is a part of the process of becoming more. If you say yes to paying attention, if you say yes to the thing that's calling you, well, you're saying yes to loneliness. And so if you are, I just want to help. It wants to be broken up a little bit. That's all. It doesn't want to be this solid pile of crap that lands on your heart and shuts down the process. Does that make sense? On some level, it doesn't have to make like total sense. It's just, it wants to kind of put a foot in the door, wants to stop the pattern or the assumptions that we have around it, that it means, oh, that must mean that I am no good. Me being alone or feeling alone must be an indicator that it's true. All the things that I've felt about myself that I'm shit, or it's just confirming it. It says, no, just understand it's a part, Oprah goes through this. I'm trying to think of anyone else. I don't know if Oprah's a great one, but anyway, anyone that you look up to, anyone that you see doing something, they aren't immune to this layer of doubt or hesitation, avoidance, distraction. It's all loneliness. Do you see how it's all, I don't know, it just wants to say, it's like we do these things to not feel so alone or misunderstood or betrayed or abandoned, or, we don't want to be with that layer. Big changes, new vantage points. Anytime we're in a new place, which, by the way, can we all just take the shine off of that? Like, it is in every freaking moment we are new, because I love handing this out to people. I love offering this out, this perspective. Like, as I take this breath, well, I've never been here before. I've never been 45 and how many months and how many minutes in this coffee shop, in this exact location, being with these other people. I've never been here before. I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know if anyone's going to walk in and do something crazy. I don't know shit in this moment. So it's very new. And so in that allows forgiveness of what I know and what I don't know. So this is where that whole element of being in the moment, it not only brings forgiveness of self, forgiveness of not knowing, to allow kind of ourselves to be born into the moment, to be new. And with that newness, we would never hold a child in contempt for not knowing shit. So why would we do that for us? So there's this freedom that wants to be infused into, wants to be offered, to allow more allowance of mistakes, if only to go, well, I didn't know. How could you have known? My God, this morning, my son, I goofed yesterday, and we were making ice cream, and I didn't pick whole milk. I picked whipping cream. And this may sound like where's she going with this? This morning, I come to him, and he's sitting at the table, and he's in tears, and his cereal is covered in whipping cream. So he thought it was the normal milk that my mom says we don't really drink milk in our house. So he's always like a treat to get like milk. And that sounds weird. Anyway, so he's poured this milk, quote unquote milk, it was whipping cream, on his cereal. And he actually hates whipping cream. When we go to get hot chocolates, he's always like, I don't like it. And I'm always like, what are you, crazy? That's the good stuff. But I forgot about this. Anyway, he's sitting here basically with a full bowl of cereal that he loves, but now it tastes like shit because he's poured whipping cream on it. And he's upset, and we're trying, like, what's the deal? Like, what's going on? And I think he's been with us a few times where he's done things where he's known the outcome would be that. And we've been like, no, man, like, own it, own up to it. Come on, see it through, finish the thing, or do the thing, whatever. But this time I said, did you know it was whipping cream? And he was like, no. And I was like, well, you don't have to fucking eat it. I didn't say that. I didn't say the F word. But I was like, well, then you didn't know. And he just looked at me like, I didn't. Because he was feeling real bad about himself. Like, you could tell he was just like, just kind of like, oh, like just suffering in his socks there. Like, just, I got to eat this now. I really. And I was like, well, you didn't know. And I think he was expecting us to make him eat it, And I think in other times we might have done that. I don't know. Like, I'm not perfect, so I might have done that. So he's holding on to that. And I said, and his dad just walked up and just took it. And he says, "It's okay, buddy. And you should have seen his face. He was just shocked. Like, "You mean it's okay?" And I was like, "Well, you didn't know. So we'll just get you the milk that you normally use." He was just like, he was like, "What the heck is going on here?" Like, and we were just sort of coaching him into that, like, yeah, like, all is forgiven. You didn't know. When we get kind of messed up is when we do kind of know better, and then we make that choice again, and there's just that comeuppance of like, crap, I did know. But again, are we here to shame and blame, or are we here to like learn? So we're sort of shifting that. We're trying to shift that paradigm. But it's as simple as something like that. Like, he didn't know. Call it a mistake, but what the hell is a mistake anyway? You know what I mean? So, okay, so now he knows that color part or whatever, like I said to him, "Oh, I probably should have let you know." And so I was trying to help unburden him. He was shutting his whole day down. And so I was like, no. Can we just allow newness to like be a teacher? Is that it allows for more acceptance. It allows for more forgiveness, allowance. I take acceptance, allowance. I use and forgiveness all in the same. To me, it's the same thing. And that's where I've gotten to with it. And when you say to accept it, well, what does that mean for you? What does acceptance mean for you? Will you allow it to be in the space? And how will you be with it? Like, that is the humbling place that we are asked to go. To be alone, to allow aloneness or loneliness to be a teacher. Like, for us to not try to avoid it or think we know better, or like try to create things so we don't feel that way. What if it holds something really important that you need to take on the next step? It's almost like a stop point, like a milestone that says, come on in. You're being confronted with loneliness. Now, are you going to go and hop on your phone and just like drown out in a sea of news feeds so you don't have to be with this thing? Or are you going to put your foot down? Are you going to get quiet? Are you going to let yourself cry, even if you don't understand the emotions? Are you going to write about what you're feeling and receiving and being intuited with, you know? Are you going to take Lonely's hand and say, "All right, I surrender. What the hell is this?" And that's what we're talking about here. So as I was driving to this, because I had a whole bunch of things that I wrote about it. So Monday, I don't know, I just felt I was confronted with loneliness in the experience of just kind of shedding a bunch of energy and emotion that I didn't know needed to kind of shake off. Because so many things are opening up in my life. And like, it's almost like when we grow, much like you're kind of showing the snake grow from wholeness. It's like its outer skin starts to crack and fall away. And there's natural grief that occurs that is hard to language. It's hard to language. And so our logic says, well, I don't, I'm giving me as an example, I'm like, God, this feels heavy. So I don't have the right words for it, but it feels heavy. It feels sad. There's something that feels so sad right now. But everything feels like it's good and it's right and it's true and sad. So will I allow the sad? And so I just was like, will I get in the way of becoming the next thing by saying, no, I won't allow that because it doesn't make any sense. So I said I would, and I ended up on the floor, just heaving. It looked very tragic. If anyone to walk by my room, luckily the house was empty, because I'm sure that would be super confusing for kids, even though I try to help them understand like what this process looks like sometimes. Is it for any walker by, with their phone in their hand and their life, and they're going to their thing, and they saw me on the floor, kind of like sobbing and dripping, tears falling out of my eyes onto my carpet. It looks like a friggin' tragic place to be. And yet at the same time, in it, I know I'm being cleared. I know I'm being cleansed. I know I'm being worked on by something that knows far more than I know, than this tiny little package, this pinhole that I am, that is trying to move information through my face out into the world, or through a book or through whatever. And it was asking me to just like feel and like unpack. And also, at the same time, it looks super messy. It looks tragic. And people are like, I do not want that. That is the last thing I want to do and be, is like a mess on the floor. And yet, what I know to be true about that place is that there will be nowhere I'd rather be, because I understand the intention of it. I understand the process, that it is changing me. I am saying yes to being worked on by something that knows more or is bigger, and surrendering to something, to a feeling, to an energy, to a process that just wants me to unpack and unload burdens that I have unknowingly put on my heart, on my process, on my creative work, whatever it is. And it was all through and loneliness is right there. I'm so alone. I'm literally alone in this process. And there's something very sacred about that we cannot avoid. I am not a coach here. There's many people that don't talk about this. And I know I'm here to talk about this. And it's not it's not the sexy, leap and the net will appear. That's what people buy into. That's what people, I want that thing that lady's offering. And I'm there saying that too, but the way in which to kind of be held by that thing that's bigger, what do you think you got to give up at the door? It's all the things. I literally see myself with a purse and a bag and when we're trying to bring groceries in and we try to pick up absolutely everything so we only make one trip. It's like I'm holding a lot of stuff. And while I was driving here, the metaphor of wanting to travel somewhere, and in order to get on that plane, in order to get to the next place, this thing that we're talking about, this gateway of lonely, this relationship with loneliness or being alone, it's an invitation as a part of the journey. And it showed it to me as that, the gates you walk through, that scanning area where the TSA agents are, and you're taking your shoes off and you're putting them in a bin, and you're putting your laptop and your precious items, your most valuable items, you're folding them and you're putting them in a basket, and you right down to your shoes and your rings and your necklaces and your earrings, so you don't, so that you can walk through. And this layer, this initiation with loneliness, this partnering with the layer of being alone. It's like the TSA agent that says, yes, this door is open, and we're going to ask you to put your belongings, the things that you're attached to, we're going to ask you to just put them there. We're going to ask you to leave them here. And yeah, right? Talking to that siren, perfect timing. Perfect timing. It's alarming, because at that moment you realize the attachments you have to needing a specific outcome, to needing a finish line, to needing a feedback, to needing love, to needing approval, to needing appreciation, to needing friendship, marriage, our children to be okay. All of these things. I have been in alone moments where that TSA agent of loneliness has said, yep, your husband too, your marriage, I need you to leave that in. And it's had me embody the letting go of everything that I think things should be. That my kids are supposed to be okay. That my marriage is supposed to be okay and will always be forever and ever. That my parents will always be well. That I have to put it in the basket, unpack it, put it in there. And yeah, it takes a few minutes to be able to walk in. It's part of the process of walking into this lonely place. But don't worry, I'm getting somewhere about what that place is, okay? About what that actual invitation and initiation is into lonely. We're just at the door here. But it is a fire door. It is a fire door. You are absolutely being baptized by fire and initiation, because it asks you to leave everything you think you know at the door and to let go of it, because you are being, baptized by fire. So it's at this point where you are being confronted with everything you're attached to. And so for me, I could say, well, I'm feeling burdened by this book that I want to write, or this tangible product that I want to make, because I want to change the world with it. So look at the heaviness on that. I want to change the world with it. I want to change life with it. It needs to deliver. It needs to land. Well, now the idea is burdened. So I was being asked to put it in the bin. So it's like bringing me back to a place of raw intention, like absolute raw intention. What is really important? Is it about it being a book, or is it about the word being written? Make a decision here, Carrie Ann. Is it about what I think that person should think, or is it about me being myself, being allowed to be true to myself in this life? Make a decision. So you're being asked to leave that attachment of what so-and-so says right here. And there's grief with that. There's absolute natural grief and mourning and an emotional and energetic process right there. Okay? So it just wants to say, I need to be a part of this process of you becoming, because you can't take this shit with you where you're headed. You can't. You can't become the thing that you're here to become with all those ideas burdening and pressuring the instinct that you're noticing, the thing that's calling you forth. They all just want to, can we allow for equals and opposites to be under the same umbrella? You get to be that diverse. You get to be that dynamic in your full, whole experience. Do you see the permission that wants to be allowed in this? You get to. These 3 words are lifeblood in my work right now. You get to. We get to. I get to. Let's unpack the things that are getting in our way so that we get to show up for the work. We get to show up for the thing that we want to become, that's wanting us to become more. Or, more than what we ever have been up until this point. So here we are at the baptism of fire called lonely. It feels like the final frontier. Go in and really be with you, because it's like, that is really that baptism by fire, to go be with you, to be with self in your realest, most rawest form. It's all happening at the same time. The grief, the lonely, that is you being with you. It's not linear. It's almost all happening at the same time. And wouldn't it make sense that this is a part of the process, to shed the attachment, to shed the dependency, to shed the expectation, to shed the beliefs, all the things that get in the way, for us to come back in, be initiated by fire back into connection with our capital S self, in a place that maybe actually looks and feels very dark. Solitude. Close your eyes. Just you with you. And to breathe. And to acclimate. What is here? What has prevented me from being more connected with my rawest version, my most realist version of me? Because that always be asked to left at the door, to be handed over. And as you're unpacking it, as you're grieving it, you couldn't be more connected to self in that process. So it's not like you don't get in until you do that. As you're doing it, you are just absolutely, it is coming, you are coming together with, and by coming together with yourself in this new moment, this all gets to be new again from here, that something new wants to be created. You are collaborating now, even more whole than you were before. And let's say you've done this before. Let's say you've done this process. And there's a part that says again, like as if it thought arrogantly, innocently and arrogantly enough that it was a one-off thing, or it was maybe 2 or 3 times that you should be done with this already. Can we shed that? Because that really gets in our way. That really gets in your way of becoming. The judgment you put on again or still, it ruins and it limits the newness that wants to be received from this new collaboration and this new vantage point, because you're assuming that you're not new, that this isn't new. You're negating the wisdom, the experience, the life lived in between these moments. And you know what? Who are you to say that everything up until now hasn't absolutely been needed to be in this new moment? And to be humbled by the fact that, and there's going to be another. But right now we're here. So let's just be here. But don't think that this is the end of it. Just because it feels big doesn't make it bad. Because it feels big means it's big. Means you're big. It suggests so much more. So we always feel this bigness, and we assume because it feels maybe dark or lonely that it is bad. And it's not bad, it's just big. You can quote me on that. I'll take that, right? It's just big, and we don't often know how to deal with that or receive it. How could we be this big? Triggers things like vanity, or like, oh, think I'm so this or that. Well, if you're being honest, we are very big. We are the universe trying to be fit through a pinhole. So there's a piece that wants to be made around that. And the only way to find that piece is to unpack all of the shit we carry around it, about it, the judgment, the feelings, the emotions, the unexpressed stuff, the stuff that we haven't been willing to explore. Do you get it? Do you see how it all works together? There's a potency in loneliness that wants to be impactful. The potency has purpose. Yeah? And so don't try to make it look tidy. There's a new relationship here with loneliness that wants to be allowed and be folded into the mixture. Folded in. It doesn't want to overpower it. It wants to be allowed, and it wants to be needed into the process, to be understood by you as a whole, that of course, this is going to be a layer I'm going to move through often, maybe frequently, maybe not so frequently. What I know from my vantage point, being confronted with loneliness again and again and again, being put in a corner, feeling alone or abandoned or even misunderstood, all those things, is that it has always brought me into better relationship with myself, because I was willing to stay in the room with it a bit longer to understand it a little more closely. It's bringing you into a place where connections can be made. And there's more than once we've talked about this, but again, it's the universe wanting to fit through a pinhole. But I'm excited to be talking about it. And I'm here to help facilitate the fetal position moments for you to understand what they actually are versus what you think they are, and how maybe a traumatized or limited part of your brain is interpreting it. And I'm not saying limiting to be belittling or patronizing. It just doesn't know. And when it doesn't know, it doesn't know. And to be introduced to this other idea, what if it's this? Would you try that on for a hot second? If only to loosen up the knot that you've got wrapped around itself again and again and again, to consider that what if it is something that is in service of you? What if it is something that's just wanting you to receive this underlying gift that you are, like that is for you, that you are? Yeah. I wonder if I have time to pull a card. Well, you know what? I'm going to make time, because I want you to ask questions, or like what came up around this for you. Let me know how this lands, because it is huge and absolutely fundamental. It's a fundamental piece that wants to be written about in the work, or created in the work that I offer, as a layer for us to weave in consciously, and not be so afraid of these big layers that can often shut down the whole becoming process, because it's big, not bad, it's big. Well, okay, so here is the card number 23. If that's significant for you, defend to the end the worthwhile. Defend to the end the worthwhile. And look at that image there. It's not clean, not tidy, is it? It's messy. And if we can surrender and allow some mess, well, there's a whole lot of wisdom that wants to make its way through to us. Yeah, that's what I'm getting right off the bat. But I have not read this card in a long time, so I'm so excited to see what this wants to say to us after this conversation. Defend to the end the worthwhile. Beneath the illusions, pretty, and this is, Sacred Rebel Guidebook, Alana Fairchild. These cards of the Sacred Rebel speak so much to what I'm here to do and be. Beneath the illusions, pretty as they may seem, you know what's real. Beneath the lies, sweet as though they may sound, you may know what is worthwhile. All that is genuinely and truly essential for the heart to throb with life is worthwhile. Anything that dulls it or suffocates its vibrant aliveness must be questioned, challenged, and more than likely cast aside, for the heart is our key to living an authentic life. What is there once that is compromised without its foundation of truth? We are to be forever lost in confusion, doubt, and despair. You are a sacred warrior, a defender of the heart. You have cried genuine tears of your own grief, and also the grief of the world. You have raged at injustice and oppression in your own life and in the world. You have felt the need to protect the presence of love, for whilst it is exceptionally powerful, it can too easily be smothered under lies and fear. The sacred warrior must not heed the dangerous voices that say, oh, stop being so sensitive. Stop making such a big deal out of things. Love is the biggest deal there is. What else is worth being so sensitive about? The sacred warrior is vigilant that the presence of love is not chipped away by fear, by criticism, by doubt, or untruths. Even if others find the unflinching honesty of your feelings difficult to handle, even if those feelings are expressed with gentleness and compassion, the sacred warrior honors the task of being more faithful to love than to anything else. This includes the fear of loss. Actually, it includes the fear of anything at all. This oracle brings guidance to honor even the smallest steps in your path as a sacred warrior. They are no less important than the more noticeable or dramatic actions on the path. One single misstep can begin a landslide of great devastation. Being vigilant with what is meaningful and what is truthful, even in the smallest and seemingly insignificant ways, stretches the sacred warrior and prevents darkness from gaining a stronghold from the inside. The darkness will be intelligent and sneaky. It will tell you that it doesn't matter, that this one time you can forget what you promised, and that you are just one person, and that you can't make a difference anyway. That darkness will lure you into sleepy ambivalence and dull your light if you let it. The sacred warrior within will fight with love and honor to be true to what has meaning, and never, ever allow it to be cast aside, even if it seems easier in the moment. The sacred warrior finds joy and humor in life to prevent the seriousness of the task from stifling the heart that just wants to live and be free. That joy brings strength to the warrior and an expanded, relaxed awareness that can sense the presence of fear, whether it be masked as anger, hate, or doubt, and immediately respond to it with fierce compassion. The sacred warrior will not allow fear to gain a stronghold within the heart. This oracle has special guidance for you. You're being asked to stay strong and stand your ground. This may be a big emotional journey that feels like the fight of your life. It may be in a matter that does not seem to hold much importance at all. Perhaps, for example, you are contemplating an idea that you feel could be something, but those around you have declared it is nothing much, too impractical, or too little, or hell, too much. However, what is happening, or soon will happen, is worthwhile. So hold tight. Ask for help through the healing process below. Stay true to the sacred warrior of love that you are, and defend to the end all that is worthwhile. This oracle gains even more significance for you if you have also drawn the oracle of new birth, guarded vigilantly, in your reading. If you intuitively feel guided to read that message or that card, please do so after you complete the following healing process. The healing process is as follows. Put your hand on your heart and say, I call upon the sacred warriors of unconditional love. I ask for your support, protection, assistance, and intervention on my behalf through unconditional love. That what is truly worthwhile for the light and life of the heart be protected and preserved within me and in the world for the greater good. Through my own free will, so be it. Repeat this 3 times if you wish. This can be said once or twice daily during times when you feel you are fighting to be heard, fighting to save your creative ideas from critical voices, or fighting for your right to simply be yourself and live your truth in the world. You can also use it for any other purpose that feels worthwhile to your heart. These declarations have power. Use that power freely and with great joy. Well, that. You are that. You are this pinhole, this very powerful pinhole that the universe does want to move through. So the question is, will you let it? And how committed are you to the process? Whatever you choose, you are loved unconditionally by something so much bigger than yourself. For even being here and saying yes to everything you are experiencing. So there is no demand for you to get busy and start creating shit. It is only through this gateway to self that is the continuous invitation. They, meaning this bigger thing that maybe talks through me, that is the bigger invitation to say yes to step through that fire, to leave those things at the door, to mourn, to grieve, to unpack, and to be with self, and to find a new relationship through the door of lonely is what we've talked about today. But there are many other doors that only invite you into being in a new place with self, in a true place with self, potent and purposeful. So with that, I hope that this is supportive and helpful. And I send you out into your week, out into your life with hopefully a little more love, a little more compassion, a little more acceptance, a little more allowance in order for you to become, to continue to become, and to feel that support and safety in self as you go. Mwah. So much love. All right. I'm off. Bye.